Okay, so beim
Sorry. Yeah.
Beim Rebenstisch, über welchen es ist gehangen ein Naftlämpel mit der verräuchert Gläser, damit verlattet mit Papier auf die gespaltene Erde haben sich gequetscht etliche zähnlich ingerlich, von 3-jährigen Kindern bis 10-jährige Chumash English. So at the rabbi's table, over which there was hanging a paraffin lamp with patched glass chimney, which was patched with paper over the cracked places. There sat several tens of little boys from 3 years old, children of 3 years old until 10-year-old boys who were studying Chumash. Reb Meir Melamed is given a Dradke Melamed. Ich Chumash und Rashi Melamed. So Reb Meir, the Melamed, was both a Melamed who taught the youngest children.
It's pronounced Dardaki.
Dardaki? Okay. Teaching the youngest children and also the children who were reading Chumash with Rashi. Die größere Englisch seien der Gangen die Joren, die Kleine, welche sie haben gerufen mit dem bekovedigen Namen Stinkers. So the older children would tease the life out of the smaller ones, whom they called with the honorable name stinkers. Der Rebbe, damit mit der verfester Jammelke auf dem Kopf und ohne Kapotte, nur bloß in a Spencer, was hat getrogen sei Sommer, sei Winter, und von welchen es seinen herausgehangen Sticker schmutzige Watte von die Lecher, hat sich keinmal nicht gescheit mit dem Fuchsenfissel und die lederne Lokschen. So the Rebbe, who was always with this yarmulke fixed on his head, without a kapota, wearing only his undershirt, which he wore both in summer and in winter, and from which there was hanging pieces of dirty padding, pieces of dirty padding that were hanging out of the holes. He was never parted with his with the fox foot, the whip with the leather straps. Hat das Fissel euch genutzt beim Teiteln die Shurus in Siddur. He also used this whip to point to the rows the lines in the Siddur. Sein Ponym is gewinn gel, wie wollt gehat die Gelsucht. His face was yellow as if he was suffering from jaundice. Seine große schwarze Augen, seinen Gewinn die Marischchere allein. His large black eyes were like
The picture of depression.
okay, the picture of depression. Gräuel fleckt befallen, wenn fleckt onstellen auf Emerson die scheuderliche Marischchere Augen. So a shudder would come over any child when he looked at them with these terrible, depressing eyes, in welche es ist gelegen der ganze Zar und Hevel Havolim von unserer Welt und ihre Brühe. So in his eyes was lying the whole sorrow and banality of our world and the creatures in it.
Okay.
Die Rebbetzin is gewinn a gutmütiger, aber a kranke. The Rebbetzin was good-natured, but she was ill. Ihre Finger seinen gewinn ausgedreht. Was zu lieb dem hat sie nicht gekannt arbeiten. So her fingers were
Twisted?
ausgedreht, twisted.
Yeah.
And for that reason, she couldn't work properly. Und sie hat gehalten in Einmachen Schadens, and she was constantly causing damage. Oder sie hat zerbrochen a lämmige Schüssel, oder sie hat übergekehrt a Teppel beim Rausschleppen es mit die Kotschere von oben raus. So either she broke a clay vessel, or she upturned a pot, taking it out of the oven with a rod. Oder es ist bei ihr ausgelaufen das Gekerz von Top. Or it the contents of the pot spilled over. Der Rebbe fleckt werden wild von Zorn jedes Mal, was sie hat gemacht a Schaden. The Rebbe would fly into a rage each time when she did such damage. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, refer.
Yeah, let me just suggest near the beginning of where you were reading, the line starting with der Rebbe, Tomad mit der verfetzter Yamelka. I think verfetzter, you translated it as verfaster. Verfetzter means greasy. From fet.
Quest,
Okay.
The line starts der Rebbe.
for fat, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yes, quite right. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I read it as for faster, as if it's hooked with a pin, you know.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Okay,
use a
thank you.
thumbtack. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Mazel tov. Okay, I'll read now from where we are. Mazel tov, Fegemalke, hat Geschrei getan mit der Niggen, wie Weiber bavenen mit der Selchen am Meis. Mazel tov. Congratulations, Fegemalke. The Rebbe would call out with that sort of a melody that women use when they are lamenting a corpse. Mazel tov. Fegemalke hat geguckt auf ihm mit solche schuldige Augen, wie ein Hund guckt auf sein Ballerboss, nach ein Upton am miese Sach. Fegemalke used to look at him with that sort of schuldig,
Guilty.
guilty, thank you, guilty eyes, like a dog looks at its master after it has done some sort of ugly thing. Meir, die Kinder, hat sie gemurmelt. Meir, there are children present, she would mutter. Reb Meir hat sich nicht gerechnet mit die Talmidim und Talmides und sich vergangen in Kass. Reb Meir didn't worry about the male and female students, and he would become quite angry. In die Heiser, welch müssen gehen, so lieb dir, Zeug Mischugene. I'm going to have to go begging from house to house because of you. You crazy bitch. A Zeug is actually bitch, female dog. Hat gewaltet. Brennst mich aus auf Fund und Quit. Klavte. He became wild. You are bringing me Eus, bringt's mir Eus auf Fund und Quit. Fund und Quint is an expression I don't know. Pound and quart.
I think you are causing me financial damage, and this is just an expression. And these are measurements.
That's
these
right.
are
A quint.
weights.
A quint is about 3.5 grams, and a funt is a pound.
Yeah, but
pound an ounce.
I believe it's an expression for some amount. You are causing me a lot of damage, something like that.
And it's not just nickel and dime either. Okay, and kalifte is a very ugly word, again meaning a female dog, or klafte.
So now there's synonyms for a bitch.
Right, Zeug and klafte.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
All right. There's also the word piaska if you ever need a third word. All right. Amol. That one's from Polish. Amol, wenn sie vielleicht losen unterläufen die Milch unter der fleischige Grits und treif machen das Essen, vielleicht der Rebbe wären also wild von Kass, als vielleicht nicht jetzt sein bloß mit rufen sie mischugene Zeug und klafte, nur pflegt sein Zorn auslassen zu ihr Rotonde, along Sameten Malbisch on Arbel, wo sie hat gehad noch von der Chassene, und sie pflegt darin gehen, sei Winter, sei Sommer, jeden Shabbos davenen in Weiberschule. A long sentence. Sometimes, or once, sometimes when she would let milk run underneath the fleishik porridge, and she would make it all treif. The Rebbe used to get so wild in anger that he was not just satisfied with calling her mishuganet soig or klavta, but he used to let out his anger against her rotunda, which was a long velvet piece of clothing that had no sleeves, that she still had from the time of marriage, and she would go in it both winter and summer every Shabbos when she was davening in the women's part of the shul. So the only question I have is what is a rotunda? I'm looking it up. It's a woman's loose fur-lined coat. All right.
Yeah.
Das Malbisch, grün von Altkeit, ist gehangen auf der Wand, übergedeckt mit der Leilach. This cloak, green with age, was hanging on the wall, covered over with a sheet. Das ist bei ihr gewesen alles in der Welt. That was for her the best thing in the world. Und Reb Meir Melamed fleckt darüber Hanoah haben, auszulassen sein bitteren Zorn zu Ot der Rotonde. But Reb Meir Melamed used to get pleasure from letting his bitter anger out against this Rotonde. Mit dem Meshuggah Gelächter fleckt herabreißen das Leilach von der Rotonde, aus Spreiten das sametene arbelose Malbusch auf der Erde und treten das mit die Fies, tanzen darauf mit komischen Sprüngen, zum Schreck von dem Mädlich und zu dem Gelächter von der Chumaschinglach. With a wild laughter, he would rip the sheet off of the rotunda. He would spread the velvet sleeveless cloak on the ground, and he would step on it with his feet. He would dance on it with comical jumps to the horror of the girls and the laughter of the Chumash boys. Der Rebbetzin fleckt wären versteinert von Schreck. Zu zendig, wie man tritt ihre Rotonde. The Rebbetzin used to become stock still, stony out of her fear as she saw that he was standing on her rotunda. Ihre Finger pflegen sich noch mehr auskrimmen, and her fingers were twisting even more. Der Ben Yochid, Kasriel, hat mehr nicht gekannt vertragen dem Mutters Pein, und fleckt sich einstellen für ihr. Their only male son, Kasriel, could no longer bear his mother's pain, so he used to stand up for her. Reb Meir's Gelponim fleckt wären schwarz über der Chutzpe von seinem Sohn, dem Belfer, was wagt entgegen zu reden dem Taten. Reb Meir's yellow face would become black because of the chutzpah, the gall of his son, who is also the Belfer. A Belfer was an older boy who would bring the lads, the students, to school and back home sometimes at night.
The
This
assistant.
The assistant, yeah.
Assistant, behelfer.
Behelfer, yeah. It would be behelfer, but it's usually, I think, it was such a common word, it was pronounced Belfer. And it was a particular position at the school. But that was his job primarily, to accompany kids back and forth. His son, who was also the behelfer, who was daring to speak against his father. And yeah, that's as much as I need to read. Maybe it's someone else's turn.
Meshuggah Idel Arov, oder Gewaltewet. You little crazy Jew, go down. He was screaming. Meshuggah, Wuflachs, Gel dir die Gerge auf Ausreißen. You crazy, I didn't find Wuflachs.
A buffalo. It's, I mean, it usually,
okay. Crazy
it's
buffalo.
like an ox in a china shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's I saw it as an you oaf.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I will, thank you. I will, your neck, I will tear up. Die Rebbetzin fleckt mit die ausgekrimmte Finger ungeklammern sich in Sohn, soll verschweigen dem Taten. Die Rebbetzin with her twisted fingers, used to cling to her son to be quiet, to not say anything against the father.
To
Kasriel Schweig.
get his father to stop. To
Okay.
try and get his father to stop.
Thank you. Kasriel Schweig, Kasriel, shut up. Hat sie sich gebeten und gewiesen auf den Rebens Kopf, wie man weist auf, wie man weist auf, wie man weist on auf einem, was ist nicht beim klaren Sinnen. Kasriel, shut up. She asked, and she showed at she was pointing at the Rebbe's head, like one show points at someone who is not all there, who's crazy, who's not in their clear mind. Klon zinnen. Nachdem pflegt der Rebbe gich Anton das Chalatl und laufen auf der Zeit. After that, the Rebbe used to put on his coat or his cloak and run away for a time. Der Kass seiner pflegt zerrudern sein Tomid kranken Morgen. His anger always used to upset his constantly sick stomach. Mit der treurigen Nigen pflegt dennoch sagen dem Asher Yotzer. With a sad chant, he used to then say the blessing, he who created, that's the blessing, he who created Asher Yatsa Chalulim, right? Chalulim.
The kovim, yeah. It's what you say after the toilet.
In the human body, so that the things will get out properly. Wie wohl gesagt, Kines, okay, and he was saying this, that blessing, wie wohl gesagt, Kines, and he was, it's as if he was saying prayers over that, over the Lamentations. Seine treurige Augen, seine noch more schreurige geworden beim Lernen der noch mit die Talmidim. And then after that, his sad eyes became even more depressed looking when he was studying with the students again. Seine Verteidigungen von der Teure haben unheimlich sich anschlagen in die Choscheche Wend und verdräucheren Eufen, bedeckte mit krichendicke Franzosen. Okay, his interpretation of the Torah where reaching sinisterly in the the dark walls and the smoked oven that was covered with roaches. Nein, die Torah is nicht gewesen this in Od dem Cheder. No, the Torah wasn't sweet, like his father said, Torah is this. Dem Cheder, wie mein Vater hat mir gesagt, like my father told me, no. Gott, ich hab gesehen, als es hilft mir nicht, als Kasriel ist stärker von mir, ob ich geführt mit dem bitteren Milchomes, jeden Frühmorgen aufs Nei, wenn ist gekommen, schleppen mich im Cheder. Even though I saw that it wasn't helping me, that Kasriel was stronger than I was, I still, even though I saw that, that this wouldn't help me, I still was conducting with him battles, strong battles, every morning anew, when he came over to carry me in Cheder. Mein Mutter vielleicht vorstellen ihre Treten. Meine Mutter vielleicht vorstellen ihre Treten, gucken dich, wie man reißt mich weg mit Gewalt von ihr Kleid. My mother vielleicht vorstellen ihre Tränen. My mother used to cover her tears when she was seeing how they're tearing me away, actually with screaming away from her dress, in welchem ich habe sich eingeklammert zu suchen Schutz gegen den Behelfer. Her dress, in which I tried to I tried to cling to look for support against that assistant, that Kasriel. Aber sie hat mich nicht beschützt, but she didn't support me. Wie sie hat es gekannt mit sagen bloß ein Wort. She didn't support me, even though she was able to do this by only saying one word. She didn't say it. She didn't say anything. Kein Sach hat nicht gekannt gegenstellen sich dem Gebot von Lernen Teure mit der Jüngel, was sie schon 3 Jahre alt. Nothing could be against the instruction, like the holy instruction, the holy mitzvah of learning Torah for a boy that is already 3 years old. Endlich hat Kasriel mich eingebrochen, aber ich hab das Cheder keinmal nicht lieb gehabt. Apparently, Kasriel.
Eventually.
What do you say?
Eventually.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. He broke me down, but I never liked the Cheder. Also habe ich nicht lieb gehabt die Teure. So that similarly to that, I did not like the Torah, didn't like the Cheder, didn't like the Torah, was men hoderin gelernt. I didn't like the Torah that was being studied in the Cheder. Okay.
Okay. Etliche Chadoshim Zeit hat Reb Meir mit mir reingeackert, auszulernen mich traf. So for several months, Reb Meir drilled me in learning the traf, and I think this is like the trop, the sound, the way that the Torah is read. Das heißt, wie soll zu lernen Nekudas. In other words, how to read the vowels. Hat mich gelernt, als jeder Nekuda unter an uns darf werden uns gesagt, a viele die schwa. And he taught me that every vowel or vowel sign under each letter must be pronounced, even a schwa. Aber wenn ich hab gekannt traf und ausgesagt jeder Nekuda, hat genommen mich lernen, als die Schwa sagt man nicht daraus. But when I could already read the trop and read out each vowel sound, which he had taught me, he said that the schwa is not pronounced. Ich bin gewinn überrascht. Was früher hat man die schwa ja gedacht, ausreden, und plötzlich hat man gedacht, sie verschlingen. And I was surprised. Why previously did he tell me that the schwa was silent, and now he tells me that the schwa must be previously he told me that the schwa must be pronounced, and now suddenly that it needs to be swallowed. Aber ich hab angenommen dem Rebensbefehl wie a Geseira und kein Kasches nicht gefragt. But I accepted the Rebbe's order as if it were a Geseira, a decree. And I didn't ask any questions. Die Gewohnheit aber hat getan ihrs, but the habit worked. It worked on its own. Die etliche Chadoshim Arbeit seien nicht gegangen in Nivets. Und jedes Mal, was ich hab gesehen, a schwa unter an euch, habe ich das euch gesagt, wie es wollt gewinn a Zeire unter dem. For several months, of these several months of work, it didn't go to waste. And each time when I saw a schwa under a letter, I expressed the letter as if it had a tzeira underneath it. Der Rebbe fleckt während wild von Kaas. The Rebbe would become enraged in anger. Grobe Kop, hab doch dir gesagt, als jetzt lernst du schon mehr nicht kein Troff. You numbskull, I've told you already that now that you're learning the trop, the sounds, nor ivre nor ivre und du darfst die Schwa nicht herausschreiben. When you read Hebrew, you don't pronounce the Shva. What gewaldet wird. He shouted, he screamed at me. Mich hat nicht geschlagen. Bloß gedrott mit dem Fuchsenfissel. Weil meine Mutter hat ihm angesagt, soll nicht aufheben auf mir kein Hand. So he didn't hit me because he only threatened me with this whip because my mother warned him that he shouldn't lift a hand against me. Und mein Vater hat zugeschockelt dazu. And my father nodded his head at this. Aber andere Engler haben gehabt feierliche Pitch. But other little boys would get beaten very hard von Melamed's kalter Hand, by the Melamed's cold hands, für Heraussagen dem Schwa, Punkt wie sie haben früher gehabt, Pitch, für nicht Heraussagen. In the same, they used to be beaten for saying the Shva in exactly the same way as they earlier were beaten for not saying the Shva. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a hard thing in Hebrew because there are actually two different Shvas. There's the Shva na and the Shva nach. And some are pronounced and some are not. There's not a single rule that says always do one or always the other. The rules are actually pretty complicated.
True. That's true, but what about the Shva in Yiddish? Is there two Shvas in Yiddish? I don't know.
There's no Shva at all in Yiddish.
Oh yeah, because in Yiddish the vowels are in letters.
That's right. So we don't use the Shva. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank
makes
you.
it easier.
Right.
But
right.
We do have consonant clusters like that last line, punkt, that's got a n, k, t together. You'll never see that in Hebrew.
No.
You don't have consonant clusters really in Hebrew, but you do in Yiddish. All right.
Yeah.
All right, shall I read?
Yeah.
Gelernt hat man von 8 in der Früh bis 8 vor Nacht. We used to, they used to teach from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. Eigentlich nicht gelernt, nur glatt gesessen in Cheder. Actually, it's not that we were studying, we were just sitting in the Cheder. In der Zeit, wenn der Rebbe hat gelernt mit ein Gruppe, hat die zweite Gruppe gemusst sitzen ledig und schweigen. During the times when the teacher was studying with one group, another group would have to sit empty-handed and quiet. Das Schweigen ist gewesen die größte Pein für Kinder, was haben gedarft sich bewegen, spielen sich, reden, lachen. This silence, this being quiet, was the most difficult pain for the children who had to move about, to play, to speak, to laugh. Zum Mittag fliegt der Rebbe telmal a heimschicken die Kinder, auf a halber Schar, aber oft fliegt euch hat die halbe Schar sie nicht geben, nur hat verlangt, als man soll bringen das Essen, die Englisch in Cheder herein. At noontime, the Rebbe would sometimes send the kids home for a half hour, but often he would, even this half hour, not give them. But he would require that the kid's family should bring food to the kids into the cheder. Bloß die Mädlich seinen noch etliche Schar lernen bei der Melamedke heimgegangen. Only the girls, after a few hours of studying with the Melamed's wife, would they go home. Wie mekane gewen, hab ich die Mädlich der Fahr. Und gehad teines zu Gott, für was hat mich beschaffen, a Jingel. How jealous I was of the girls because of that. And I had complaints against God that he had not made me, that he had made me a boy. Nach 2 Jahren lernen, habe ich gekannt sagen Ivri in Sidr, via Wasser. After 2 years of study, I was able to pronounce the Hebrew in the prayer book via Wasser, fluently. Punkt zu 5 Jahren hat der Rebbe angehoben lernen mit mir Chumash, die Parsha Vayikra. And exactly when I became 5 years old, the Rebbe began to study with me Chumash, starting with the Parsha Vayikra. I have no idea, but that was the custom. I mean, Vayikra is not simple stuff. It's the beginnings of the sacrificial system, and it's not narrative. It's if someone brings this sort of a korban, you've got to do it this way, and that sort of a korban, you do it different way. Anyway, that's what they used to study first with the kids.
I believe that this is what the Hasidim were doing. It's not the Litvakis. That's where they started.
Yeah, well, anyway, this isn't the only place where I've seen studying the kids in Chumash with Vayikra.
Yeah, why not start with Bereshit?
Exactly. That's what you would expect. It's easier Hebrew, and it's a narrative, which makes more sense for a kid, but that's not what they did. The only explanation I've heard is kids are in some sense pure, and the sacrificial system are rules of, if you might say, purity. And so that's the best time to study it. It still doesn't make sense to me.
Explanation, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, let me continue a bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Ich bin gewinn sehr stolz bei sich, was ich wäre ois, ivri Jingel, und hebon sein a Chumash-Bocher. I was very proud of myself that I was no longer an Ivri kid, a Hebrew kid, and I was beginning to be a Chumash lad. Bocher is kind of a higher age. Chutztem hab ich gegret sich zu a Sude, was mein Vater wird machen für mir, auf welcher ich will sagen die Drosche, was mir Melamed hat wochenlang mit mir eingechasert. Besides that, I was preparing myself to a feast that my father would prepare for me, at which I would pronounce a speech in Hebrew, which Meir Melamed had been repeating with me for weeks. Zwischen die seitige Jantaivim, was mir pflegen haben in Cheder, ist gewesen das gegen Krishma lernen zu Kindbetorens und das Feiern Chumash anheben. Among the holidays on the side, which we would have in the Cheder, there was also going to recite the Shema at the bedside of women in labor, Kimpetorins, and also celebrations of beginning the Chumash. Jedes Mal, was a Weibel ist gelegen geworden und hat a Jingel, vielleicht Kasriel nehmen die Jinglich von Cheder und führen sie zu der Kimpeterins Stub, Krishma lernen. Anytime that a woman had given birth and had a boy, then Kasriel would take the kids, the boys, from the Cheder and bring them to the house of the woman. A Kimpeterin is the woman who just was in labor, the mother, the new mother, to recite the Shema. Die Kimpeterin fleckt liegen hinter a Leilach, was is given behangen mit Shirameilesen. The woman would be lying behind a sheet that was decorated with Shirameilesen, psalms that begin with Shir HaMa'alas. Weiber flecken sitzen herum Leilach, and women would be sitting around the sheet. Kasriel fleckt wegstellen alle Jünglich herum Leilach, wenn fleckt sagen Chishma, was mir haben gedarft noch sagen Wort by Wort. Kasriel would set all the kids around the sheet, and he would recite the Shema, which we were supposed to repeat word by word. Nachdem fleckt man jeden Jüngel geben Matanes, and afterwards they would give every kid gifts, Rozenkes, Mandeln, Nislach, and Zuckerlach, raisins, almonds, nuts, and sweets. Kein Sache solche Simchas fliegen nicht treffen, weil das Städtle is given a kleins. And not so many of these celebrations would happen because the Städtle was small. This was it called Lenchin? I couldn't even find that on a map of Jewish geography. All right, enough for me.
Okay. Freilacher noch pflegen sein die seltene Chumisch onhebersten. Happier even where the infrequent beginnings of reading Chumash. Wenn ein Engel pflegt onheben Chumash, pflegen die Eltern machen Asude. When a boy would start learning Chumash, the parents would make a feast. Einladen der Wachsene und Cheder-Englach. And they would invite grown-ups and Cheder boys. Der Melamed pflegt wegstellen dem Chumash onheber auf den Tisch und führen mit dem Dialog. The Melamed used to stand the beginner of Chumash. He stood him up on a table and conduct with him a dialogue. Ingele, was Sedra hast du ungeheuben lernen? Boy, what Parsha did you begin to learn? Gefragt mit einem Nigen, he asked with a chant. Also der Mont a bisschen Nigen von Agdamos that was reminiscent of the chant out of Agdamos. Agdamos is, I found, the hymn that is read by Ashkenazi for Shavuot. Vayikra oder Chumash Boker geantwortet. Was is der Deutsch Vayikra? What is the translation of Vayikra? Oder gerufen. He called. Wer hat gerufen? Who called? I don't know. God hat gerufen. God called. Wem hat Gott gerufen? Who did God call? Zu Moshe, Leimor, so zu sagen. He called Moshe, that is, and so on and on. oi do Single und gedenkt alle Entfers, was ist nicht allemal gewesen der Fall, haben Tate Mame sich gefreut, Gäste haben gewünscht Mazel Tov und die Simche ist gewesen groß für alle Men und mehr von als für den Chumash Bocher und seine Chaverin. If the boy knew all the answers, which wasn't always the case, the the parents were happy, and the guests were wishing Mazel Tov, congratulations, and the the feast, that party was and the happiness of that party was great for everybody, and mostly for the Chumash boy and his friends. Euch mit mir hat Reb Meir eingechasert die äußere Nischen. With me too, the Rebbe went over all these explanations. Zudem allem hat mich noch ausgelernt Adrosche besonder. In addition to this, he also taught me a speech separately. Die Straße ist bestanden in dem, was in dem Wort Vayikra in Chumash ist die alle nicht das gleiche wie alle übrige Oisies, nur a kleine. So the speech was about that, the fact that in the word Vayikra, that is in the Chumash, in the Torah, the letter Aleph is not quite straight like all the other letters, but it is small. For what is the Aleph a kleine? Why is the Aleph small? Der Ruf hat mein Melamed mich geheißen entfernen, also regarding to that, my teacher told me to answer this way. Der Rebbe ist die Aleph in Vayikra a kleine, weil die Aleph sich halten groß gegen alle andere Oisies. Zu lieb dem, wo sie ist die erste in Aleph Beis. The Aleph is in Vayikra is small because Aleph letter, the letter Aleph considered itself greater than all the other letters because she or it, the letter, is the first one of the alphabet. Therefore, so she thought that she was more important than all the others. Hat Gott gesagt, weil du hast dich getan groß halten, darum sollst du gestraft werden. Was in Vayikra wirst du werden geschrieben kleiner wie alle andere Oisies. So God told the Aleph, because you were considering yourself so great, you will be punished. So that in Vayikra you will be written as in a smaller, you'll be a smaller letter than all the other letters. Mit größer Smodder habe ich gelernt, die alle äußere Nischen von Vayikra zusammen mit der Drosche über der kleiner Aleph, כדי zu beweisen sich von Eulem auf der Suda, was Tate Mame wollen machen von mir. So with great diligence, I studied all the interpretations of Vayikra together with the speech that about the small aleph in order to show to the public, you know, that would come to the party, that my parents would make for me. Aber Tate Mame haben von mir kein Suda nicht gemacht. This is the most terrible paragraph now. But my parents did not make any feast for me. Sie, das ist gewesen der Fall, was für die 4 Rubel a Woche Schires haben meine Eltern sich nicht gekannt, vergehen zu machen zu das. Whether it was because they were already paying 4 rubles to teach to the teacher, the Melame, to teach me, and maybe because they already paying him that they could not afford to make feasts. See, das ist gewesen der Fall, was von mein Vater dem Landen in Chumash anheben nicht verrechnen gewesen für eine große Sache. In Chumash anheben. Or maybe because for my father, the learned one, beginning Chumash wasn't considered such a big thing. Wie das vielleicht verrechnet werden bei Prosteten, like other Jews consider, like a simpler Jews, uneducated Jews. For women, a parsha chumash is a groß geschehnis. For those uneducated Jews, for whom a section of chumash was not such a big event. Okay.
I think we should stop here.